scratch, the needle jumps. Every time I drink milk, it comes out in lumps. Every time I freestyle, I just talk shit. Every time I catch the bus, there's nowhere to sit. Every time I catch a train, I'm hassling for a ticket. Every time I'm batting cricket, first ball takes a wicket. Every time I'm drunk at a party in a toga,
here's a scarcely tricky question. Jim, what's your opinion on the relationship between prohibition and the pushing of certain pharmaceuticals? Do you know?
Geez, it'd take me more than the 2 stops I've got left in this bus trip to explain that one to you.
Okay.
Why not do that tomorrow when I see you today?
Tomorrow on the show we'll have the G-Man himself.
Get my head around that question. Yeah, I'll have some thoughts for you tomorrow.
And we'll be talking about prohibition.
People said radio was the end. It's fantastic. So media. That's right.
Meanwhile, I'll turn purple and blue.
That's all we can do. Keep it up. Keep it up. Stick with other people. That's right. Do the best you can. That's all we can do. So, I'll see you at your place tomorrow, man. Is that the story, or?
Yeah, how close to yours are we? That they go off and sorry. Wait. You want to know how I got these scars? My father was a drinker and a fiend. And one night, he goes off crazier than usual. Mommy gets the kitchen knife to defend herself. He doesn't like that. Not one bit. So, me watching, he takes the knife to her, laughing while he does it. He turns to me, and he says, "Why so serious?" Comes at me with the knife. "Why so serious?" Sticks the blade in my mouth. Let's put a smile on that face. And why so serious?
Chris is obviously very sober.
This is my smartest Polish man I know. Chris, the ever-wise Chris.
That's me. I don't know what he's doing to me.
You want order in Gotham? Batman must take off his mask and turn himself in. Oh, every day he doesn't, people will die. Starting tonight. I'm a man of my word. Hello everybody, this is called the PS4 VR set prank.
Well, I'm going to have a couple of those sandwiches for dinner. Oi!
Hey.
He's filming you. You wouldn't know because you're in a different world, but...
Yeah, can you turn this off?
This?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you finished?
Yeah.
Now, I was going to say...
Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to... Oh, what do we got? Chaplain. VC. Welcome to afternoon...
Is that not the
We are tonight's entertainment. I only have one question. Where is Harvey Dent? You know where Harvey is? I just want to ask him something. Something little.
Isn't that what I'm supposed to do?
No, sorry. I was talking, recently posted my critique to Her Majesty about what she's doing with this Genesis book.
Where? What?
Was this even recording? Sorry, we're back for part 2, take 3, indeed. And Claire and I were just talking about having, I was talking about Australia Day and being at the bus stop and saying Happy Australia Day to people last year. I'm not doing it this year because tensions raised when I said Happy Australia to 2 Aboriginal men who got angry and said it's Invasion Day and I shouldn't be saying Happy Australia Day. So I had empathy for them and said sorry. And it gave me this idea about, thinking about the biblical ideas that were on the minds of those who first invaded and stole this country and pirated it into the corporatocratic, empire that it is. And I thought, well, we could have this ideological stake-off, which is comprised of the Garden of Eden serpent versus the Aborigines' rainbow serpent. And the 2 winning points at the moment that I can think of for the Aborigines and the Dreamtime rainbow serpent is they could say, well, the rainbow serpent does not give a fuck how many apples you eat, and also the rainbow serpent would prefer it very much if no sons had reproductive sex with their mothers in the Garden of Eden. So on that point, the Aborigines have a better serpent. I think a cooler serpent. I mean, this was an apple prohibiting serpent that had no connection to rainbows or anything like that. Like, at least this serpent is chilled enough to say, yo, rainbow, I'm the rainbow serpent. and like
Rainbow serpent, motherfucker.
probably wants you to eat apples and enjoy them, and isn't into inbreeding.
We got red, we got green, we got golden delicious even. I don't give a shit, I'm just about the rainbow.
And isn't gonna send everyone you know to burn in hell.
Hell no! In fact, they climb on my back and we just go for a circle around the universe. Woohoo! Fly
That's
around the universe. Like tachyons, like neutrinos. Fly around the
Claire's into subatomic particles, and she knows about the limits of the standard model of physics. But that's for another interview. I bid you farewell. This is Luke Banton. Take care. Instagram and Facebook. And please check out the song Say 10 by Marilyn Manson, the video clip on YouTube featuring Johnny Depp. It's very personal to me, as is the album Heaven Upside Down. And you'll find, those of you who know about my childhood in particular, this is a good clip for you to see from my point of view, which I'm always prepared to talk about for those who really want to.
Wait, what was that? You actually expect anyone else to want to be in your head?
Not initially, just some strange things have happened this decade. But anyway,
Ain't that a fact?
au revoir. See, I had a wife, beautiful, like you, who tells me I worry too much, who tells me I ought to smile more, who gambles and gets in deep with the sharks. Hey. One day they carved her face. We had no money for surgeries. She can't take it. I just want to see her smile again. I just wanted to know that I don't care about the scars. So, I stick a razor in my mouth and do this to myself. And you know what? She can't stand the sight of me. She leaves. Now I see the funny side. Now I'm always smiling.
Well done.
Hello, everybody. Book of the month would be Being and Nothingness by Jean-Paul Sartre. I recommend that to anyone. And Nietzsche's Thus Spoke Zarathustra. If anyone wants a copy, please message me. And if anyone is interested in reviewing my book Paradox, could they let me know too? It's in draft form and is yet to be finished. Thanks. You want to know how I got these scars? My father was a drinker and a fiend. And one night, he goes off crazier than usual. Mommy gets the kitchen knife to defend herself. He doesn't like that. Not one bit. So, me watching, he takes the knife to her, laughing while he does it. He turns to me, and he says, "Why so serious?" Comes at me with the knife. "Why so serious?" Sticks the blade in my mouth. Let's put a smile on that face. And why so serious?
You know, look, life can be real shit.
I think that with what changes in art are going to face in the not so distant future, not just for but also from bisexual rights defenders, now
David Bowie has tragically passed and is missed. And now, as he was one of the pioneers, along with Patti Smith, of the movement in the 60s. I see a possible niche, a conceptual niche in exploring and maybe making a case that the logistics of biophobia are outlined in theistic God belief, or the role is particular. It might actually, even as an atheist, with like Omnimax, all-knowing, all-powerful, all-present, all-loving, there might be a little more involved to discuss how the concept alone could have wrought it, so to speak. But certainly the biblical Christianity, logistics of its narrative, I think, is biphobia. I think there should be more art challenging that. I think it's an untapped completely original. It's not a completely untapped resource, but there's more work in that field that could be done. It would be going back to, not so much back to the drawing board, but the contents of the remaining chapters left to do on my ebook draft. Now it's 6 in the morning. Good morning, Lynham.
First place I was taught about Schedule 8 monitoring, policy, implementation, yada yada, was at Hughes Capital Chemist about 2004 or 5. I have been trying to narrow down the date on my records, and I wasn't too sure how to say I felt about it. Obviously, when you're taught God exists and you're a kid, you imagine everything's been watched. Then you go through puberty, and then you imagine that the same God is watching you jerk off, so it becomes very disgusting. But I still did consider that, I knew regularly from business checks that I was often viewed outside of work, so that's part of why January 2010 is more of an enigma to me than the people who have crossed me in the Capital Group. So now it's getting to be nearly a decade later, and I've realized I just can't move forward the way Miss Gillard would so politely encourage us to. I'll have to be the what's it called? The unblinking eye. The crossing over the desert and the unblinking eye and the stonecutters stuff. That's what stonecutters time. You're on air.
No, at this stage I don't remember any good philosophy quote.
He has no philosophy quote. Not for you or anyone.
I have one. Oh. Know yourself. Socrates. Know yourself.
Because I'm Elizabeth Alexandra Mary, appointed head of the Church of England, where we teach the Bible is true, And that's why on that day back in the garden, my firstborn son, the royal Prince Charles, did indeed approach me, as Cain once approached his mother Eve. My firstborn son, the royal Prince Charles, did indeed on that day unsheathe his loins and take out his manhood. Then after muttering a Latin prayer, with a mighty thrust, he did indeed drive it deep inside my very entrails, because I'm Elizabeth Alexandra Mary, and at least I didn't eat any apples that day in the garden, because then the devil might come after me. So instead, because I'm Elizabeth Alexandra Mary, appointed head of the child.
January 21st, 2019, we have
now,
Claire.
See, if you recall earlier in the day, I was telling you about how the VHS Bandit will actually come out under the right conditions. I would dare say that these are nearly the right conditions. If you just bear with me, I will find my original Betamax. We'll do this bitch proper. Okay, do you say cut now, or does it just cut by itself?
Look, life can be real shit.
Gonna wait?
Yeah, okay. Oh, let me do the Hawaiian. Yeah.
This is Luke Banton, and I'm sitting with Jeff. We're talking about the heat in Canberra at the moment.
Yeah, 40 today. Not a happy camper. And my cat is looking like a drunken sailor. She's not coping at all well.
She's pissed. Look at that.
Oh! Whoa, that's what's happening in my brain.
Yeah, this is the heat affecting the VHS cassette right
It's
now.
no joke, is it? It's really.
Yeah, his game is pretty much that you want to work for him, you get constantly whatever he thinks his psychoanalytic skills are. I'm sure Freud's probably his favorite, all the dreams about mothers and shit. He's got that Tasmanian streak. Tasmanian ambition for deciding which of your staff have to be gay because you don't want to talk about the motherfucking scenes in Tasmania. Inbreds are humans too. Ask the Queen. Inbred in a garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, no children had to have sex with their mother. Hey fag, put on your fag makeup, you fag. Was not a conversation I was really expecting to have, but this whole ordeal about Roger's part in the 3.7 billion a year scam thing. Partially overseas reporter already, because you know, he kept saying I measured as gay. Like, fuck, maybe you're gay when you're measuring. And that's where the headophile idea sort of began. But the book will be good, and people with healthcare will have to return to the Hippocratic Oath and principles derivative from it. It needs people in pharmacy pretending they're fucking hardcore psychoanalysts as well. Fuck, you're just a Panadol salesman. Fucking fuck yourself. Fucking gay pharmacy fucking group. Well, ooh. Hello. I'm at Northbourne Chemist. It's my apprentice camp. and then in a second it goes all staticky. Goes staticky. Yeah. Yeah.
Sick. That's so cool.
You need to get medicines here that do that to your eyes.
Ooh. What do you think of that, ladies? Should be effect. There we go.
Music, is it?
Well, that's called electric. Okay, good morning. It's Saturday the 19th of January. I'm just doing my morning walk and morning log entry. Sometimes I wonder if this resembles the perception of the world through the multifaceted lens of the common house fly. No way to know for sure. We have peace out. Hello and welcome to Capital Chemist, Lionel. My name's Luke and I have some interesting facts for you today. Fact 1. Pseudoephedrine. Pseudoephedrine is an orally effective nasal decongestant with peripheral effects similar to, but less intense than amphetamines. It is a sympathomimetic agent, meaning it creates an effect similar to that which results from the stimulation of the sympathetic nervous system. Pseudoephedrine does elevate blood pressure, however, at the recommended dose, it should induce little to no pressor effects in normotensive patients. Thank you and enjoy your day.
Yeah. I want to promote. It's on mightyape.com. Black Labyrinth by Jonathan Davis. He first solo album since the 2007 Alone I Play, where he did acoustic replays of studio songs that fared well. Maybe amongst the more eclectic demographic of the fan base. But it's a fantastic album, but Black Labyrinth is more studio metal, instrumentation, with all new lyrics and songs. Jonathan has written on his own, so I don't think it's the regular band, Korn, Fieldy, Ray, Monkey, and Head. I think it's a different band. I want to talk to them one day about Head's conversion to Christianity, because I think I would have a few good points to raise. I've studied his book, Why I Quit Korn and Found God, and I'm like, like Jonathan hates God, and he helped me to hate God, so, but anyway, that's neither here nor there for now. But check the album out, it's fantastic, thank you.
This is where the Mully Grubs go through puberty, and they asked me to do some photolog journals for, I'll call them mockumentary, documentary, you know, a blend of just abstract filters and arty concepts, philosophy concepts, socio-political attrition and religious attrition. When the two get rolled into one, you know, never out in the wild field of the believing community have I found myself likely to say things that I'd be particularly proud of, but at the same time I can't really fester on them either. Where I have been careful is to, in many of my writings, I would ask, you know, those that I've shared them with, or those that have looked into them anyway, you know, they're about, in Facebook I've written a bit about my progress with philosophy debates and where they were going over the years on a forum. I felt I had called out someone who was accountable to at least affirming biblical concepts that I find to be really offensive. It was something, a dichotomy that my old church mentor, she would teach me that the Old Testament represents God's old covenant, and then the New Testament represents God's new covenant. But they introduce Jesus into the New Testament, but they don't say this is a new covenant made between God and man. So this construct of the Old New Testament divide corresponding to whoa, what's this? Corresponding to a corresponding divide where there's an old new covenant representing a change in the mind of God, who says, I am the Lord, I shall not change. So, they generally like to suggest this idea, some believers, because they want to say, well, God got nicer as the book progressed. Like, it excused him from being an asshole in the Old Testament. So, unless post 2010 there have been hacks, I wrote to a clever rapper friend of mine who knew a little bit about some forum works I was doing, and in the end she helped me catch a pretty dangerous guy. It's my first time since catching a shoplifter in 2001. It's the first time I've caught someone, I think, with a bit more ideology and religious belief behind his acts of injustice. I ended up finding media reports in Nashua in the USA that corroborated what I'd sort of what values I'd screened him to check if he held them or not. And yeah, am I happy that I have like full definitive proof? I could be. Well, you're never happy with this sort of thing, so these are some ugly minds. In particular, this guy Richard, who, you know, it's funny who it was that stepped in, and I was like, fucking Rich, thinking about Rich. And this guy I used to know and deal with in business was like, yes, can I help you? So implicitly bragging about you know, your stack. I thought we were working because it was on our hearts. Anyway, so yeah, I ran a series of various accounts aimed at raising certain framing questions in certain ways and collecting results in certain ways, writing in certain ways. I very much relate to, it's very personal relation and identification with the lyrics and film clip of the song Kill for Me of Marilyn Manson's Heaven Upside Down. Now that's actually a song about a computer writing style. You know, the two basic principles behind how you write, sort of celebritarianistic brailing, sideways for attention, long ways for results. So I would encourage everyone to watch the film clip Kill for Me by Marilyn Manson. It's got nothing to do with any endorsement of, as all of Manson's clips do. There's no endorsing mistreatment. But, yeah, this song to me really hit home about, like, remember who you are. You're at least some sort of writer of some kind. So I do intend to return to that forum and see. I mean, I've got my arguments. I've got police mugshots.com files on this guy, and I've got you know, closer to his hometown, I think, press reports on his reprehensible misbehavior. I just don't have his from the heart admittance that yes, this was me and why. Was it a Bible verse here or there? I intend to find out anyway, when the time is right. So yeah, look forward to. It was a tiring project. I look forward to one day. Maybe it's become less of a priority given other more pressing matters, but yeah, it hasn't read the last of me reading his rubbish and seeing through it. In the words of my good friends Scott Hester and Chris Vogel saying, they were like, you dropped a bomb on that forum, man. A bomb. Bomb, 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 bomb. In other words, the crowd pretty much pissed off because they went, whoa. Okay, this Bible teacher is not... yeah, not the guy I'd want running my church of 80s music or... yeah. Not someone one can trust. Leave it at that. So, what makes me look more edgy about that? Filters. Alright. Remember our new sign, peeps? We started out with the live long and prosper, and now it's the, is it a thumbs up? Is it a middle finger? Jonathan Marilyn. Yeah, very good at sign language. Alright. Good night. Good night, Canberra lovelies. Good night. I spent a lot of time watching theist versus atheist debates. Christopher Hitchens and Dan Barker and Sam Harris and
when you came in, you saw a response card on your seat. Just fill it out and we'll collect it.
I find them to be interesting because largely one of the reasons I watch them is research for writing.
We make it easy for you to get the best Christian news and commentary at an unbeatable
but also
thanks. And now on to our workshop.
I watch them to put to the test certain realizations I had in my late teens and earlier on in the millennium about the integrity of atheism. At least the concept of atheism as it's discussed and defined by writers like George Smith. The normal trend that I think seems to recur throughout all these debates is that often you'll find that the theist they often admit that they use language that often freely admits that they think it's almost like they've admitted that religion is stupid themselves, because they'll try and say things like, I don't have enough faith to be an atheist, and that's the title of a theist's book in defense of his religion. But we're kind of going, why did you call it I don't have enough faith to be an atheist? Unless, like, the title is like his admission that faith can be a stupid concept. So he makes a sort of a concession in the title of his own book. Same as like Wendy Wright, the creationist. She's talking to Professor Dawkins and she says, the way you evolutionists teach ideas, it's almost as if you're like a religion. We're like, hang on, you're the one that's supposed to be defending religion here, not us. That's a common element that recurs in these debates, is that you see the religious, the theist and the defender of theism shoot themselves in the foot with stupid terminology. Also, there's one of two things either has to be done by the arguer for theism, is that they have to kind of hop from one issue to another, trying to make another play it. Without God, there'd be no good in the world. Or,
First, from cosmology. Scientists now agree that the universe
and kind of
began in the Big Bang.
Lose that argument, and then
we know the universe began to exist, therefore the universe
before and they have to then convince themselves that my work is needed elsewhere, and you know they go and hash out a debate on another topic instead of, you know, because atheists will make certain, we're prepared to openly admit that admit to our willingness to convert potentially in the event that an adequate case from theists and the proponents of theism can be made in favor of theistic belief system, and they can prove that, you know, they have to prove themselves and you know, make a truthful case in arguing in defense of their beliefs, and then we atheists are prepared to come forward and embrace them ourselves if they can, as long as they can make their case, hold up their part of it, their end of the bargain. But then we also don't we watch, and they don't hold any sort of equivalent comparable ethic where they go, if you can demolish the arguments for my God or my belief system, then I'll deconvert. Instead they hovel, they could do that, they go, no, I'm needed elsewhere, and you'll see them arguing some other issue, you know, without God love's no different to rape, or something stupid like that. And if they're not doing that, playing the field of important issues, they're trying to avoid the principle strikes against arguments for theism being so much more profound and substantial than the arguments themselves for theism, that I don't think they want to let those arguments and the problems exposed with theistic thinking to really take root and compel them to actually seriously revisit a lot of the foundations for their worldview. So the next thing is that they often want to make out that atheism is a comparable worldview to their whatever their theism is, or that it's even a worldview. Usually some interplay of both, that atheism is both like it's a belief system. Whereas, atheism is defined as declining from involving oneself in either the movements or the idealism of the theists, whether they're monotheists, polytheists, whatever, and to not make a theistic existential claim, which is the claim that a supernatural deity, one kind or another, exists. It's an absence of that of that sort of metaphysical viewpoint that a deity or a devil or anything supernatural, a supernatural dimension exists.
Whose co-authored work you will find fine bookstores are equipped everywhere, including here. All right. You know, there was another bestseller just before the First World War.
So yeah, to not join that the movement of the theists, it's not a just declining the invitation, if you will, to agree to join and be part of a theistic movement. That can't really be called a movement in its own right, because it's not. It's just staying at home while the rest of them go out, and you know, it's not. Atheism is not. And even positive atheism, which
Friday, 12th. Hello Instagram. I got a new corn shirt for celebrate the album Issues that I loved from 1999. I'm counting every aspect of this hectade, the scar that has been this decade, and I'm thinking about the subsequent stitching process. What's gonna happen when I've stitched everything up? Indeed.